talk about, and it's a lot going on, and I want to ignore certain stuff, but certain stuff I just can't. I'm having a couple health issues. So mad I don't have a Cash App anymore.
It's dark without that Cash App, ain't it?
Oh my God. Life's so different. My body different, you know? And I didn't do nothing. It's like the way I was bullied at my other job was so f***ed up because I really didn't do nothing. Like, I didn't risk that joint. I ain't play with that joint, none of that.
Thought you didn't.
You know what I thought about? I ain't even gonna. You mean? Boop, bop, 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 bop. Psych.
What's good, Elevated family? It's your boy back again with another episode of JBP Elevated, where we break down everything happening around the Joe Budden podcast and all the co-hosts, both on the mic and behind the scenes. Now listen to this. I'm about to get a little speculation heavy in this one. Based on a few things I've been noticing lately, I've been sliding over to Mona's page every now and then just to see what's going on. And hold up, she actually hadn't uploaded anything on her own YouTube channel until today. That's what makes it interesting that she chose the exact same day Joe drops his podcast to release her own episode. Now look, I'm not the biggest Mona follower like that, so maybe Wednesday has always been her upload day. If that's the case, y'all forgive me. But right at the start of the episode, like I showed in that clip, you could feel something was a little off. See, I've already paid attention to Mona's mannerisms before, so watching her carry herself the way she did on that show this time felt, I don't know, kind of strange. She kicked things off by saying the situation was related to a health issue. And let me make this clear. When it comes to someone's health, you'll never catch me clowning about that. So I'm not about to guess what she's dealing with the way Act did, because whew, that man went wild. Seriously, Act has been going crazy talking about the entire JBP cast lately. And trust me, I've already got a video coming about him after some of the things he said regarding Mark. But anyway, he really went hard discussing her health situation. I'm not going to speculate on that part, but I will talk about what she said right after. According to her, she was dealing with bullying over there, basically saying the way she was treated at that other workplace wasn't on her. She didn't directly say last job either. She just kept referring to it as her other job. Then right when she was about to keep going and add more to that story, she suddenly stopped herself mid-thought. And hold up, right at that moment, Phelps jumped in. That little moment right there is what really got my mind spinning, because the way he stepped in made me start thinking a certain type of way. Like, wait a minute, did things not play out the way you expected them to? Oh wow, what really went down here? So now the big question is, did Mona actually get let go for real? I've been floating that idea already, mainly because Joe didn't mention her name even once during the episode. Instead, V-Dot and Imani was sitting there on the main couch. And then toward the end of the show, Joe casually mentioned that B-Dot might be coming back next week. Now hold up, why say next week and not the next pod? And let's not forget, Joe also made sure to give Flip his shout out. And what do you know? Flip is already back in the mix. In fact, he's back so fast that he reportedly scrapped whatever streaming platform project he was building with Ian Dunlap. Meanwhile, I'm seeing my guy Ian popping up trying to appear on other people's shows now. So what actually happened with Flip behind the scenes? Because it's real interesting that Flip said straight up, I'm not trying to go back to the projects. And listen to this. Remember that first video of mine that y'all been running up like crazy? First off, I appreciate all the love and support on that. At the end of that video, some of y'all in the comments were saying Flip might have been talking about Mona. And girl, the way Mona was acting on her show, yeah, something definitely felt different. Now let me be clear, I don't joke about health issues and I'm not about to start diagnosing people with anything. But listen closely to what I'm saying here. If you watch today's episode featuring Don't Call Me White Girl, you might start connecting a few dots yourself. Because something clearly happened behind the scenes. No question about it. Something went down. And if you look at the way Joe handled the Melissa situation before, it kind of makes you think. I'm not saying he fired her from the pod, but once she stepped away, they basically stopped bringing her up altogether. Sure, they'll throw a few jokes around, but nobody ever really addressed what happened. Meanwhile, fans are still out here asking what the hell went down with Melissa in the first place. So what if we're about to watch the exact same thing play out again? I'm telling you right now, this upcoming Saturday episode might be the most important episode of Mona's career. No exaggeration, it might be the most important one yet. Because let's keep it real, I've been paying attention to what's happening behind the scenes between her and Breakbeat Media, and I'm also seeing moves that suggest she might be preparing to move completely independent. And when I start scrolling through your YouTube channel and notice there's a production company listed there explaining what role they played in everything, hold up, that's when I pause for a second, because that detail alone says a lot, and honestly, it raises a few questions. So now I'm sitting here like, damn, you stepped away from Breakbeat Media, a platform that already had a structure and a system in place. They helped elevate you in ways you even admitted you hadn't figured out yet, especially since you said yourself your first podcast didn't really gain traction. Then you linked up with Breakbeat, things started taking off, and suddenly the narrative flips like it was never them. Now when I see Rebel Hill Productions, or whatever the exact name of that company is, showing up on your page, listen to this, that's when I start getting concerned. Because it makes me wonder what direction things are really going in. Especially when you previously had a pretty steady upload schedule, and then suddenly the uploads stop, you disappear for a bit, and you return talking about health scares and problems at your other job. Mona, real talk, I genuinely hope for your sake this whole situation is just speculation. I hope this turns out to be nothing more than a misunderstanding. But from the outside looking in, it's starting to look pretty clear. It feels like you want the freedom of being independent without fully embracing what independence actually requires. Because let's keep it real for a second. Running independently means putting in that work behind the scenes. That means learning how to edit, figuring out marketing, investing your own time and energy into building something from the ground up. And from what people are seeing, that part doesn't seem to be happening. Yes, you've built a name for yourself through viral moments, you've said that plenty of times, and I even watched that interview you did with Danny. And honestly, he was pressing you pretty hard during that conversation. But if we're being fair, some of those questions were justified. I mean, showing up 2.5 hours to a podcast is wild. And the way you explained it on that episode, you basically said being late is just part of your personality. You even suggested Breakbeat Media didn't really contribute to your rise, that it was actually you doing the heavy lifting for them. But that right there sounds like zero accountability. The mindset becomes, I deserve independence and everyone should support me. Meanwhile, there are stories about issues with your Cash App, constant lateness to appearances, and people feeling like their time isn't respected. And look, independence is absolutely possible. Plenty of creators build their own lane and thrive. But the key difference is they put the infrastructure in place themselves instead of expecting it to be handed to them. There's also a lot you can pick up just by watching how you've moved on the Joe Budden podcast. Because even when I tried to shift my perspective and defend you at one point, I kept hearing the same thing. It was always about how others weren't adjusting to your style. The narrative kept sounding like the show wasn't meeting your expectations, that the people around you weren't operating the way you wanted them to. But here's the catch. This wasn't originally your platform. You joined their show. They didn't come over to join yours. So for now, I'll say this. This episode right here is heavy speculation, but I want all of you watching to go check out that episode yourselves. Then let's all pay attention together when Saturday's Joe Budden podcast drops, because that moment will tell us everything, whether Mona is sitting there on the couch or not. Either way, I want to hear what y'all think about it. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button, and if you're new here, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And if you've already been rocking with the page, then you already know how we move over here. I appreciate every bit of support y'all have been showing. Also, I recently dropped a video about DJ Academics speaking on Mark Lamont Hill. Now, Academics obviously has a way bigger platform and brand recognition than I do. But the funny part is, a lot of the things he said, I had already been saying months ago, like way before the conversation blew up. But just to be clear, I'm not beefing with Mark Lamont Hill at all. In fact, I actually have a bit of an inside connection there. So when I speak on it, I'm giving y'all what's really happening behind the scenes. But that conversation, yeah, that one's gonna be on the Patreon side. I'll catch y'all over there soon. Peace.